The story of human history isn't written in stone. Unless we're talking about the past century, no one was there to witness these events firsthand. We can't rely on eyewitness accounts, and we can't always trust ancient records because they were often shaped by the people who wrote them. All we can do is gather the clues left behind and try to understand what really happened. But sometimes, archaeologists find things that don't fit the accepted story at all. In this video, we'll be going to show you some of the most unexplained discoveries that defy all explanation. So, let's begin with number 15. The Fat Lady of Saliagos. Most people have never heard of Saliagos, which is a very small island settlement that existed a millennium ago in the Aegean Sea. But one discovery from this forgotten place continues to attract attention because of what it reveals about the legendary people who once lived there. Archaeologists discovered a small marble figurine now known as the Fat Lady of Saliagos. The sculpture isn't large, but its importance has little to do with size. It belongs to a period long before the famous civilizations of classical Greece. The figure dates to the Neolithic era and represents one of the earliest examples of sculptural art found in the Cyclades. Its rounded shape has led many researchers to connect it with fertility, motherhood, or spiritual beliefs, though nobody can say for certain what meaning it carried for the people who created it. The figurine wasn't found alone. On this site, excavations also revealed evidence of trade, fishing, craftsmanship, and daily life across the settlement. But no matter what new evidence emerges, no one knows exactly who carved the figure or what message it was meant to carry into the future. Number 14. Sungai Batu. Ancient shipwrecks. The history of Southeast Asia contains many gaps, particularly when it comes to civilizations that flourished before famous kingdoms entered the historical record. A discovery in Malaysia has suggested that one such forgotten culture may have vanished almost completely from memory. Archaeologists investigating the Sungai Batu site uncovered evidence of ancient ships buried deep beneath the ground. Ground-penetrating radar revealed vessels lying more than 20 feet below the surface, preserved beneath layers of earth accumulated over thousands of years. Some of these remains appear to be nearly 3,000 years old, making them significantly older than many of the region's most celebrated historical landmarks, including Angkor Wat. The ships were found near evidence of large-scale iron production, indicating that this was not an isolated settlement but a thriving industrial center. The identity of the people who built these ships remains completely unknown to this very day. But the sheer scale of their achievements suggests a sophisticated society deeply involved in trade and manufacturing. Number 13. iPhones spotted in a painting. Every few years, an old painting appears online, and suddenly, millions of people become convinced they have found evidence of time travel. One of the most famous examples involves a 19th-century artwork titled The Betrothal of Burns and Highland Mary. The painting depicts Scottish poet Robert Burns standing beside Mary Campbell. But viewers quickly became distracted by something else. Both figures appear to be holding a small rectangular object. To modern eyes, it looks pretty familiar. The shape resembles a smartphone. Rounded edges, dark surface, compact size. Once people noticed it, theories spread across the internet almost immediately. The problem is that the painting was completed in 1882. That places it well over a century before the first iPhone existed. Historians offer a far less dramatic explanation. Similar objects were commonly carried during the period, including prayer books and small personal volumes that often matched the shape seen in the artwork. Even so, the discussion never fully disappears. People enjoy mysteries, especially when they seem to blur the line between past and present. Number 12. Dmanisi Skull. 5. Human evolution is often presented as a neat sequence of different species appearing one after another. But a remarkable discovery in the Republic of Georgia has complicated that picture. Back in 2013, researchers studying the ancient site of Dmanisi unveiled a remarkably preserved hominid skull dating back roughly 1.8 million years. Known as Skull 5, it is the most complete early human skull ever recovered from this period. What makes the find so significant is its unusual combination of features. Some characteristics resemble Homo habilis, others resemble Homo rudolfensis, while still others are associated with Homo erectus. For decades, scientists treated these as separate species occupying different branches of the human family tree. Skull 5 challenges that assumption. Together with other skulls, stone tools, and animal remains found nearby, it suggests these ancient humans may have belonged to a single evolving population instead. If correct, one of the foundations of human ancestry may need serious rewriting. Number 11. The mass graves of Himera ancient battles often survive only through tales written by historians centuries ago. The warriors disappear, their weapons rust away, and the battlefield itself becomes impossible to find. Near the ancient Greek colony of Himera in Sicily, archaeologists may have uncovered something far rarer: direct physical evidence of a conflict recorded in classical history. Excavations outside the city's walls revealed clusters of mass graves containing men who died violent deaths. Many skeletons still carried embedded weapons, while others displayed severe battle injuries. The burials appear connected to the famous Battle of Himera, where Carthaginian forces overwhelmed the Greeks in 409 BCE. But the discovery became even more intriguing after closer examination. Some remains seem to belong to an earlier conflict dating to around 480 BCE. Historical records offer little explanation for such a large-scale battle in the area during that period. Even more unusual is the diversity of the dead. Evidence suggests fighters came from different parts of the Mediterranean world. Whether they were mercenaries, allies, or participants in a forgotten war is still a mystery, leaving historians with more questions than answers. Number 10. The Ailes stones riddle. Ancient stone monuments stand across Europe, but few inspire as much speculation as Ailes stones on the southern coast of Sweden. Known locally as Alla stenar, the monument consists of massive stones arranged in the unmistakable shape of a ship overlooking the Baltic Sea. Legends claim the site marks the final resting place of King Aelle the Strong, a legendary ruler whose existence remains uncertain. Archaeologists have never confirmed that story, but the monument continues to fuel debate. Many researchers believe the ship-shaped formation carried symbolic meaning, perhaps representing a vessel transporting the dead into the afterlife. The mystery deepens when the dates are examined. While the stone arrangement is believed to be roughly 1,400 years old, evidence suggests the burial site beneath it may date back nearly 5,500 years. That enormous gap raises difficult questions about who built the monument and why. Or was it built to honor a forgotten ruler or serve a purpose now lost to time? Who knows? Number 9. Ancient Egyptian cancer treatment. People often assume cancer is a modern disease, something connected to industrial society, pollution, or longer life expectancy. But the ancient Egyptian remains tell a different story. 2 skulls examined by experts revealed evidence that cancer existed thousands of years ago and, more surprisingly, that people may have attempted to treat it. One skull belonged to a man estimated to be between 30 and 35 years old. The bone showed clear signs of cancerous growth and damage caused by the disease. What caught researchers' attention were the marks surrounding the affected area. Cuts appeared around the lesions as if someone had deliberately intervened. The second skull belonged to an older lady who also displayed proof of cancer. She had survived other injuries during her lifetime, suggesting some level of medical care was available. Nobody can say what ancient Egyptian doctors were trying to accomplish. Number 8. Unidentified museum. Object fee museums are filled with artifacts whose stories have been pieced together through careful investigation. Occasionally, however, an object appears that refuses to reveal its identity. In 2018, staff at the Beach Finds Museum in Castricum, Netherlands, rediscovered a strange aluminum artifact hidden among items that had been sitting in storage for years. The object possessed a distinctive wing-shaped design and appeared engineered rather than decorative. Its smooth contours suggested a purpose connected to movement through water, leading some observers to speculate it may have belonged to a vessel, underwater device, or forgotten piece of marine equipment. Yet no records existed to explain where it came from or how it arrived at the museum. Attempts to identify the object led nowhere. Specialists from the Dutch Navy and researchers from the Royal Netherlands Institute for Sea Research examined it, but neither could provide a convincing explanation. Even today, its origin and purpose remain unknown. Number 7. The mystery of Brazil's ancient Ing stone. Along the Ing River in northeastern Brazil sits a massive stone covered with hundreds of carved symbols that nobody has managed to fully explain. Local people have stared at it for generations. Researchers have studied it for decades. But the mystery remains. The rock itself stretches across the landscape like a page torn from a forgotten book, except nobody can agree on the language. The carvings aren't random scratches. Geometric shapes, spirals, circles, lines, and strange symbols cover the surface in every direction. Some researchers believe they represent astronomical observations. Some even see links to ancient writing systems. A few have gone even further, suggesting connections to lost civilizations or knowledge that disappeared long ago. One study documented hundreds of individual symbols, some of which appear to resemble constellations visible in the night sky. Orion and parts of the Milky Way have both been proposed. And whether those interpretations are correct or not is still unexplained. Number 6. The mysterious Nazi coin. Few discoveries generate confusion, quite like finding an object that appears to come from a time that hasn't happened yet. During renovation work in Mexico, construction worker Diego Aviles reportedly uncovered a strange coin bearing Nazi imagery alongside an even stranger detail. The date stamped on it was 2039. The coin displayed symbols strongly associated with Germany's World War II era, making the future date impossible to ignore. Aviles insisted the object had not been altered, and early examinations reportedly failed to uncover obvious signs of forgery. Yet experts also struggled to determine exactly when it was produced. Without documentation, context, or similar examples, the coin quickly became the subject of speculation. Some viewed it as evidence of an elaborate hoax, while others connected it to theories involving alternate timelines or unexplained anomalies. Most historians remain skeptical, arguing that a modern novelty item remains the most likely explanation. Even so, the mystery persists. Until definitive testing establishes its true origin, the strange coin dated 2039 remains an unanswered puzzle that continues to fascinate experts and skeptics alike. Number 5. Luristan bronze. The Zagros Mountains of western Iran have a habit of keeping secrets. For decades, strange bronze objects have been emerging from ancient graves scattered across the region. At first, they look like ordinary artifacts. Then you take a closer look. Human figures blend into animals. Serpents twist around bodies. Creatures with horns, wings, claws, and almost human faces seem frozen in metal. These objects belong to what historians call the Luristan bronze tradition, and nobody can explain how people living in these mountains produced work of such quality. The level of craftsmanship is difficult to ignore. Every detail was cast using techniques that required remarkable control over heat and metal. That creates a problem. The people linked to these objects are generally described as nomadic groups. They moved across rough mountain terrain and left behind a few permanent settlements, but the bronzes suggest highly skilled workshops and experienced metalworkers. Most were discovered in graves, placed beside the dead for reasons we still don't fully understand. Whatever purpose they served, they are cool. Number 4. Tomb of the Silver Dragon. For generations, the Xiongnu Empire was portrayed as a civilization of wandering horsemen who dominated the Eurasian steppe without establishing permanent centers of power. Then, archaeologists uncovered a discovery that challenged that long-standing belief. In the early 2020s, researchers excavating northern Mongolia revealed two remarkably lavish tombs linked to the ancient empire that once threatened Han China more than 2,000 years ago. One burial stood above the rest. Named the Tomb of the Silver Dragon after the silver and gilded dragon ornaments discovered inside, it contained treasures that seemed out of place for a purely nomadic culture. Among the most remarkable finds was a sword decorated with jade, the first object of its kind ever recovered from Xiongnu territory. The elaborate construction and extraordinary grave goods suggest wealth, craftsmanship, and social complexity far beyond what many historians previously imagined. Were the Xiongnu truly nomads? Or was their civilization far more sophisticated than surviving records indicate? Drop your theory below. Number 3. Mummification of meat. Most people have heard about Egyptian mummies. Far fewer realize that the ancient Egyptians sometimes mummified dinner as well. When Pharaoh Tutankhamun was buried, his tomb contained dozens of containers filled with preserved meat intended to accompany him into the afterlife. The idea may sound unusual today, but to the Egyptians it was perfectly logical. If life continued after death, food would be needed there too. Researchers recently examined several examples of these so-called meat mummies, some dating back more than 3,000 years. Chemical analysis revealed that preserving them required far more effort than simply drying meat in the sun. Animal fats, oils, and imported resins were carefully applied to protect the contents from decay. In one case, traces of resin from the pistachia tree were identified, a valuable ingredient that traveled considerable distances before reaching Egypt. The process closely resembled methods used on human mummies. That detail reveals how seriously these offerings were taken. So, did they serve a real purpose beyond death? Well, no one knows. Number 2. Ratnagiri Temple Complex. Across the hills of Odisha, India, lie the remains of a vast religious center that spent centuries hidden from the modern world. Known as the Ratnagiri Temple Complex, this extraordinary site contains monasteries, shrines, sculptures, and stupas constructed across nearly 1,000 years of continuous development. The earliest structures date to the 6th century, while later additions continued appearing until the 16th. At its height, Ratnagiri served as a major center of Buddhist learning and was likely connected to the legendary Pushpagiri University, described by the Chinese traveler Xuanzang during the 7th century. Despite its immense scale and historical importance, the complex slipped from memory and remained largely forgotten for centuries. It wasn't identified until 1905, and major excavations did not begin until decades later. Even now, archaeologists suspect additional structures remain buried beneath the surrounding landscape. How such a significant religious and academic center vanished from wider historical awareness remains difficult to explain. Alright guys, now let's end this with number 1. The mysterious Chinese royal tomb. Some discoveries reveal forgotten kings. Others expose kingdoms erased from history. That appears to be the case with a remarkable royal tomb found in Luoyang. Archaeologists spent 6 years carefully excavating the site after its first traces were identified in 2009. By 2015, they announced the discovery of a vast burial complex dating back approximately 2,500 years. The tomb is believed to belong to the ruling family of the largely forgotten Lukun Kingdom, a state that survived for just a century before disappearing from the historical record. Inside, experts found evidence of great wealth and influence. 6 chariots and 13 horses had been buried alongside the royal dead. Unlike many ancient sacrificial burials, the horses were positioned on their sides carefully, suggesting they were not interred alive. The elaborate ceremony points to a kingdom far more powerful than historians once believed. But many questions are still unanswered. Who exactly were the Lukun people? How extensive was their influence? And how many other forgotten kingdoms remain buried beneath China's soil? Well, let us know. And be sure to like this video and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon in the next one.